and everybody wants to do what you want to do. Trust that. And that's how that came together that way. And you look, it went for me. I told you in the studio. I said, "Yo, Jimmy don't like me." He said, "Why you say that?" I said, "Because he said it to me." He said, "He said it."
Jimmy Iovine said that to you?
Yeah, he did. He did. Now look,
he didn't like you, or he didn't like the risk factor of what might be around you?
He just didn't like. He didn't. At that point, he didn't like me. He was feeling like I was a direct competitor and could be a problem for Beats. Because his new priority was Beats, and it was like, here's your here's the perfect example. I'll show you right now. Look.
Show and tell.
Here's your recording budget. Now look. Here's your recording budget. Here's your recording budget if you put Beats in it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you could, here, give me that piece and tell them, here, put this, and you get this if you put Beats in it. This is why everyone had it. And then it shows you how anything that, look, cocaine, right? When it's cool enough for the bathroom and the hot party in Hollywood, anything that's cool enough for the celebrities is going to be cool enough for the masses. It's testing and proven. Cocaine was cooler there before it became acceptable and cool everywhere. And that's why it was a point where cocaine was marijuana. It was that cool. And then it was like, because it was an expensive drug, and a functional drug. It wasn't as addictive as it in its purest form as in crack. So people were functioning addicts and doing it. That was a whole different vibe. But it started, that product placement started in the bathroom at those hot parties in Hollywood. Richard Pryor, the top, that would be our Kevin Hart right now. The hottest person in comedy at that point. His set was about how high he was.
Right.
From, you know what I'm saying? Like everything was, it was all, like all the way around the circle there. Now, if you said, later I said, when I got the star on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood.
Yep.
When I got there, I wasn't excited about it. Like the award shows, I haven't got excited about awards.
You're not excited to get the star? That's a big deal. No matter, even like big A-listers come out for this star.
In the beginning, I'm going, nah, yeah, it's cool. You know, and then when the day of, when everybody's there,
yeah,
I'm like, oh shit, like everybody's there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's here. So I'm like, damn, I got a call. Mary called me. Mary J. Blige, she called and congratulated me because she's actually in Power Book 2 on the second book of Power. So she was calling, she texted me, I'm like, yo, I don't know, like I'm nervous. Like I'm never really nervous to go and do anything.
You felt nervous being up there that day.
That nervous energy, yeah. And I'm like, yo, I don't know why, because it was him, Dre, everybody was there. Then it was like, as soon as I got on, the first thing I said was I made a mistake. Because the only person who wasn't there was Jimmy. And we still needed the money to make anything happen. And it was him, it was his company, it was the whole way. You know what I'm saying? And I identified with the mistake that I made at that point. And then I talked to him after, you know, because Steve Berman told him right away. You know, everybody that was from the company that was supported the project being a success was there but Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care about, like, I looked at it like the person who doesn't, not Apple, whoever else is interested in you buys SMS. After. The same way, like, the $80 million that Paul Fineman had laying around was right there for him to give us the big deal with the sneakers. Like, I'm looking, from my assessment of it was not that I'm competing with you to be, like, against you. I'm just going into the category because it is an easy sell. When everybody knows you from selling music, isn't it organic for you to sell things connected to music?
Sure.
Like a headphone? If not, look, SMS is studio mastered sound. That wasn't rocket science for me to come up with that. That was easy. That was like oh yeah, that's studio mastered sound. Then when their interpretation, because of the aggression that they're seeing at points, was competitive. Like he's gonna compete with us, and it's gonna be a problem. And that wasn't my intentions at all. If I knew that SMS would have made us not be a team, I would have never did that. I just wouldn't have went in the headphone category.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like M didn't even touch the headphones. Like he made so much money off of the music that there was no reason to touch a headphone. Like he just sat there the whole time. Like,
but did anyone know at the time how big that was going to get?
I knew.
Yeah.
I met Steve Jobs in Jimmy Iovine's office. I got a chance to see my own eyes. He spent the weekend with him, Dr. Dre, and the whole weekend he sat there. The first time I sat there, I went in there 10 minutes before I told him, "Let me see that." They gave it to me. I said, "What is it called? It's called an iPod." How many songs you said this whole? You think you can sell an iPod? I can sell an iPod. Jimmy will tell you, in that 10 minutes that I sat there, I got him to give me $150,000. Right there. As soon as we sat in there, because the first time this Apple did product placement in anything, any music video, was PIMP. You see me get up with
Is that true?
$150,000 again.
But and that was the cameo.
That was what I did. When you saw
That's
me,
so interesting. I had never heard that.
the iPad, that was the first thing. Like it's not
Jobs
like
strike you. Did he strike you as more open minded than other suits you dealt with?
yeah. Look, he looked at it and was like, he looked at Jimmy. Jimmy said, "Believe it or not, the kid is golden. I don't care whatever he says right now, it's gonna go." And he just went with it. He just gave me $150,000.
That's wild. And Dre was making a full transition then.
Yeah, Dre never really had like it was Dre's a brand. He's the thing that was protected. Jimmy felt safe with Dre because Dre could actually, he was like the magic that we had. Always, but like I'm saying, I would go collect and build my whole record. You see how rich the kid said how long it take for me to make that record?
Mm-hmm.
It's just make new music, make music, make music. Don't make an album. Make music.
Right.
Just keep making music, keep making music, keep making music. And then you're going to find something that you like better than the other stuff. Like you'll put that to the side. Put that to the side.
Well, first of all, Rich has his new songs apply to you as well because he talks about the money gets stuck together.
Yeah.
And that could apply to 50. I'm going to read you another quote here that's relevant to all of this because, the other thing is about you. People know, even people who don't follow all your music, people know about 50 Cent, that you're going to call it like you see it. You don't care about offending people.
No.
So you do that with some sacred cows here. I'm reading in the Evolve or Die section, and you write, and again, I say this like a radio reset, Ari Melber here with 50 Cent, reading the book. You say, when people say money hasn't changed them, I always think the same thing. That means they haven't made enough of it yet.
Yeah.
Trust me, when you're making real money, a lot of things change. And one of the most important things is the type of people you hang out with. And then you go through and you tell the story, and it's not some story about, what people might imagine of certain types of fancy people. You talk about basically people's minds. You talk about Robert Greene, who, of course, you co-authored the book with, 50th Law. You talk about Deepak Chopra. You talk about learning from, like, Bruce Willis, of all people, about silence. So what do you mean by the idea that success didn't allow you to just buy things, but it opened doors where you learned things?
Yeah, because, look, it'll tell you if you want to prosper, you want to go in a positive direction, you got to avoid angry and unhappy people, unhappy people, unsuccessful things, that people that just have negative energy around them, right? Because they'll bring that to you. They'll bring that energy to you, and you'll start to have things happen in your path for those purposes. Like, and what I mean is, when you get enough money, you start to you go, where you find comfort? You find your comfort in someone who doesn't have that. You get afraid of people coming to you because they want your money. They want things from you. The people that have things don't ever have that energy around them in presentation. You won't feel it. That's like when the women will get angry from, like, the hood, like in the hood, they'll see a guy that from the hood go with the girl, and she's the polar opposite of them. might be middle America, might be a white woman, whatever it is. And the difference is they don't have that same that I want something from the situation energy. And it might be because they were raised with it. If not that, Ari, then they just have they would have the same needs, want the same things. They want stability. They want comfort in a different way, right? But a different approach at it, and you can't get that read. The thing that registers is negative. When you just got something that you know everyone around you wants, you start looking at people who might want that from you.
Right.
To avoid that. So the person that comes around that doesn't have that energy at all, it feels so safe. It feels like the most comfortable place. That's like when you're doing well, when you get around people I don't care what level you're on, there are people who have already surpassed that level and are in a different financial bracket and space. And what you've done was great. That was great for you to do that from where you come from and you be at that space. But it doesn't mean much over here because you're sitting around people who have accomplished a lot more. So whether it's in business or in the arts, it's music, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It just means
Right.
that they just don't have a
Well,
reason to want
that's
anything
something
from
that
you.
that's something that a lot of competitive spaces have in common, because when I first worked for a U.S. senator,
Mm.
in my head I was like, that's major. I mean, they have power, they have a huge staff,
Right.
they have senators have these 6-year terms, so that's a big role, obviously. And then you get there and you look around, and I would say a significant portion of them, like
Right.
more than half,
Right.
are unless they're totally old and over it, they're sitting there going, how can I get into the cabinet or become president?
Mm-hmm.
And these are in the federal government system. These are the 100 most powerful legislators.
Okay.
And those top 100, we got 300 million people, got top 100, and they're all thinking about getting up one more notch. And I was like, it sounds naive because I was a kid starting that job, but I saw that, I was like, oh, so it's going to be like this, like everyone's always going to
The
be
whole
like
time.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, then I guess until it get to that point where they feel like I made it, I accomplished it, this is what I was after. And then they'll get there and be disappointed on some levels. Because you built up so much of what it's going to actually be when you get there. That's why I said when in the book, I said there should be no number. There should be no amount. Or if you say you're a hustler, this means I hustle. This is what I do. I'm gonna make it happen. I make things happen.
I'm gonna shout out another comment. This guy Castro wrote in the comment, Ari Melber owes 50 money.
Yeah, but think about it. When you say in the environment that I come out of, when you say you're a hustler, it means you're gonna make it happen. You're gonna get out there and do whatever you gotta do to make it happen. And being that, like knowing that there'll be peaks and valleys, you're gonna have setbacks at points. It's a part of the game. You know what I'm saying? When that happens, you bounce back from the setback, but no problem, because you're just like, oh, nah, you think, and you make the move and get back in the position. There's no guys that haven't had to go through that training camp. They haven't had to come from not having the first low. They'll jump out of the building, man.
Right.
The market crashed. They jumped off the building. The market went back up after they hit the floor.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they just couldn't take it mentally, how they felt at the moment. That's just a low point. It's gonna go back up, bro. Just relax. Like you gotta work your way through it. Like you said, the guy that didn't have anything, he works at the pizza shop. Why? I need income now. I know I'm not gonna stay at the pizza shop, but if I have to deliver this pizza, I'll deliver this pizza.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And there's things even in Jay-Z's work. He'll say, "Place me anywhere on God's green earth.
I'll triple my worth.
I'll triple my worth." And that's real hustler mentality. Like that's the saying when you come out of from nothing, you're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
All right, relax. I'll make it happen, because no matter what.
And that song you're talking about doubles back to what you were saying when artists moved into clothing, because he also says, he says basically, say that Hove would have sold clothing, never in my lifetime, wasn't in my right mind.
Yeah,
talking about the expectations when he was a kid, what people would allow, and then what you all have allowed. So That's another thing I want to ask you about in the book. When you talk about, you mentioned earlier Prodigy, Pac, Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
How many people who were around roughly potentially your contemporaries,
Mm-hmm.
who were black men coming out of this urban areas, cities,
Right.
had their lives cut short? And how often do you think where would they have been at if they'd just been allowed to live? Where would they be today?
But hypothetically, like what you're just saying is like that I'm not even the best one. Like the best hustler where I'm from. Like I know guys, there was guys around me that had a gift. They could do things. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you have